Shalom, everybody. As part of this Tikkun HaKlali festival, whatever you call it, we're going to go into some details about Rabbi Nachman's Tikkun HaKlali. But first, how I discovered the Tikkun HaKlali. Amazing. In 1988, I'm from Toronto, Canada originally. In 1988, we had what's called a Baba. These rabbis, if they are authentic or not, I don't know, but these rabbis who pose as Kabbalists, Mekubalim, and this guy was doing amulets and all types of stuff like that. He came to Toronto and they made a parlor meeting to raise support for the yeshiva that he came to raise money for from Israel, from Ashdod. And he gave a drasha, and in it he quoted the Zohar that says, the Zohar says there that for the pigama brit, for the defilement of the brit, sexual immorality, in particular intentional, that's masturbation, if you want to call it like that, there's no tshuva, there's no repentance. And I heard that. I was a 15-year-old boy, and I said, whoa, that means like 95% of the world is doomed based on that. A year passed, and after year 1989, in the summer, for the first time ever, I came to my Rav, our family Rav, Rabbi Levi, Moshe Levi. He's now 90 years old. He should have a arichut yamim and be healthy. I never knew that he was an undercover Breslover, and I didn't know what Breslov was even. At 16 years old, I had no idea. So I came to him with a question regarding something else, and after answering my question, he's quoted Rabbi Nachman's quotation of the Zohar in his book, Rabbi Nachman's Wisdom, Sichot Haran. He quotes this Zohar that says what I heard a year ago, that for pigama brit, for blemish, defilement of the covenant, there's no tshuva. And Rabbi Nachman said about that statement, no one in the world understands the simple meaning of that statement except for me. And I say that tshuva helps even for that. I heard that, I almost fell off my chair. Why? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said a statement, and a year later I hear a tzaddik is able to bypass Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and say, no one understands what he means. It's really there's hope. He said, I say tshuva can help even for this blemish. Unbelievable. Because the Zohar said there's no tshuva for this sin. So I was amazed. I said to myself, wow, someone can bypass Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and explain that there's hope even for that. So immediately I felt an affinity and a connection to this tzaddik and this tikkun. And it was called Tikkun HaKlali because it fixes everything. It fixes the brit and it's supposed to fix everything else. So as a simple 16-year-old teenager, I went with this with such tmimut and pshitut, Baruch Hashem. So that's how it started. That's how my connection to Breslov even started with that. That's amazing, Baruch Hashem. So a long time has passed since then, and we got very much involved in saying Tikkun HaKlali. Most recently, right before the Corona, I decided to go head into the Tikkun HaKlali, learning the lessons. These are two main lessons in the Likutei Moran. Lesson 205 in part 1 and lesson 92 of part 2. And I think I gave over 200 classes on the Tikkun HaKlali. We went very deep. I could have gone into every verse of every chapter, but it was too much that we would never finish. So I just gave a summary of the 10 chapters that Rabbi Nachman chose and pinpointed as the Tikkun HaKlali, trying to explain their connection to one of the 10 types of melody. Fine, you can look there. We have a whole playlist on SoundCloud. Fine. More recently, an amazing discovery because of something that bothered me for years and years and years about the Tikkun HaKlali. Rabbi Nachman basically says, what is the Tikkun HaKlali? It's that the power of these 10 psalms is it's able to bring holy energy into the domain of the evil forces, in particular, the evil force that steals the holy souls of wasted seed. Her name, we don't say her name. Her name is Lilith in Hebrew, Lamed Yud Tav. And she keeps by her the holy sparks or souls, however you want to call it, however you want to look at it, of the wasted seed. And they, by staying there, she's able to transform them into become destroying maziki alma, forces of destruction in this world. Because the Zohar says, and the Reshit Chochmah says scary things. It says like 99% of the bad things happening in the world are due to these destructive forces caused by wasted seed, to show you how far-reaching is the damage, not just spiritually, but also physically in the world, that Pigama Brit has a major say in most bad things happening, whether on a personal level, or whether on a national level, or whether on a worldly level. Right? It's paralleling what happened in the time of Noach. Ki yishchit kol basar et darko. And it says there, right, that because of the wasting of the seed, so Hashem sent them midah keneged midah, boiling water that had the smell of sulfur, which unfortunately is a similar scent to wasted seed. And that he would, Hashem midah keneged midah, punished the generation of the flood who were very, very immoral. They had relations with other men, with other people's wives, with animals, and the animals also became perverted. Ki yishchit kol basar et darko. The derech of man is a term for his seed, right? So also when this recurs throughout history, a lot of damage comes about it. That's why it's so bad and so severe. And why Rabbi Nachman, and he said other tzaddikim sought a tikkun for this, because so long as it's not rectified, it causes damage. So Rabbi Nachman said about himself, Hashem was good to me that I had the merit in discovering what is the rectification, and it involves Tehillim. And he said an amazing insight. Tehillim is the gematria of her name. We said Lamed Yud Tav, plus 5 letters is exactly Tehillim, which is 485. So that's already an amazing insight. And he said that this is the connection already, that Tehillim is the key for rectifying what she did. She keeps the holy level of holy sparks by her. Okay, and Tehillim smashes the wall, the barrier between the holiness and her, where she's keeping stored these holy sparks of souls, and does extraction. Okay, the question I had for you is, going back, is that the same wording is given to the Ktoret. The Ktoret, reciting what's called Pitum HaKtoret, is also super duper powerful, and the way it's expressed in the Zohar of its power is identical to the Tikkun HaKlali, and that just like the Tikkun HaKlali does extraction, goes into the forces of evil and extracts holiness, so too the Ktoret has the exact same thing. The Ktoret's job is to go also into the realm of evil and to destroy the klipo, the evil forces, extraction, and bring out the holy sparks. So the question is, what did Rabbi Nachman come to introduce? What did he bring in that was missing? The Ktoret is already doing that. Till today, the Mekubalim who are not necessarily following Rabbi Nachman's teachings, they say, oh, Ktoret is enough, it does all the job. When you look at the Kabbalah, it's heavy. The Ktoret, recitation of the Ktoret today, is super duper powerful. That's the idea of reciting it Shacharit before davening, and also at the end before Leinu Shabeach, and before Mincha. It's to do extraction so that the holiness of the prayer can be done properly. The prayer is called elevation. We go from world to world, up, and then back down. After achieving a new level, going back down, but it starts with the Ktoret to kill off all the evil forces preventing a person from going upwards, from elevating the holy sparks trapped in this world, up through Tefillah. So the question is, what did Rabbi Nachman come to discover? What's the difference? The Ktoret is doing exactly what the Tikkun HaKlali is supposed to be doing. So recently, I saw an amazing Rav Yonatan Eibshitz. It's called his book Tiferet Yonatan on the Torah. He asks an amazing question. He was, again, at least 150, maybe 200 years before Rabbi Nachman's time. Rabbi Nachman lived in the early 1800s, and Eibshitz is like in the early 1700s, late 1600s. Okay, there's a big time gap between them. And he writes a question. Rabbi Yonatan Eibshitz points out that if you look in Parashat Korach, with the machloket, the strife against Moshe Rabbeinu and Aharon, stirred by Korach and Datan and Aviram, and if you look at the end of the parsha, or in the middle, where after the earth swallowed them up and the fire came out from the Ktoret that was offered in the Mishkan and burnt the 250 Rashi Sanhedrin, including, and Korach was sent down into the earth alive, right? So, and after that happened, the remaining Jewish people began to question the validity of Moshe Rabbeinu, saying, Atem hamiten et adat Yisrael. You guys just killed tons of Jews. So when Hashem heard that, the Midat Hadin couldn't handle that, and a magifa, a plague, was sent out to start killing the Jews because of that statement. So Moshe Rabbeinu, learning the secret from the angel of death how to stop plague, when the angel of death revealed to Moshe Rabbeinu, it involves the Ktoret, the actual offering of the Ktoret. Moshe Rabbeinu, based on that, ordered, he sent Aaron immediately, take your pan, put on the frankincense, ignite it, let the cloud come, and that way you'll stop the Magifa. So Aaron did that. The Pasuk says that Aaron, Amad ben Achaim v'ametim, he stood between those who were still living and those who died. Those who died after that incident where 24,000 Jews fell. But until that point, okay? So we see in Parshat Korach, where Yonatan Abshitz asks that Moshe Rabbeinu used the Ktoret to stop the ongoing damage of the plague. So the question he asks later on in Parshat Balak, at the end, where Bil'am advises Balak, you want to bring the Jews down? The secret is immorality. Elokechem shel ele soneh zima. The God of these ones, the Jewish people, he hates immorality. Because until Bilam's time, even the Goyim had to a certain degree restrictions on their illicit sexual relationships. They put a blockage. From the time after seeing what happened to the flood, at the generation of the flood until the time of Bilam, even the Goyim more or less had morals of sexual morality because they were so afraid of what happened, okay? But due to Bilam's statement, you want to bring down the Jews, and at the time of Noach, there were no Jews yet, right? So now it's something brand new. It's a new challenge. It's a new, situation to want to break rules in order to bring down the Jewish people. So that's why Balak agreed to follow the advice of Bilam. And they sent the Midianite woman to bring down the Jewish men. Zimri ben Salu, the Nasi, the prince of the tribe of Shimon, he had relations with one of the daughters of the princesses of the tribe of, one of the tribes, the tribal leaders of Midian, right? Kozbi bat Sur. Sur is one of the leaders, the kings of the chiefs of the tribes. So, 1 second. Sorry about that. So, the Torah says that the Midianites introduced this damage of bringing down the Jewish people, and 24, there was a plague also, it says there, that when this happened, when Zimri had relations with Kozbi, and the Jews started to do immorality with the Midianites, there was a plague that broke out. It's in the Torah, in the Parshat Balak, and there, 24,000 died, and there, already Aaron passed on, okay, but Moshe didn't tell his son Elazar, the new Kohen Gadol, quickly take your plate, the machta, put Ktoret, frankincense, the Ktoret, and add the fire, let it smoke up, and stop the plague. He didn't use Ktoret to stop the plague, okay? And it required Pinchas acting like a zealot, kin'ah, and killing openly in public Zimri and Kozbi. That's what stopped the plague. The question he asks, Rav Yonatan Abshitz, how come Moshe Rabbeinu didn't use there the Ktoret? You used it in Parshat Korach, and you stopped the plague there. Here there's also a plague. Why aren't you using it? So he shows in Rav Yonatan Abshitz, from here you see that even the Ktoret, as great as it is, according to the Zohar and the Kabbalah, where they say today we don't have a Beit HaMikdash, so reciting the Parsha of Ktoret is powerful enough to also stop plague. He says, nonetheless, it has its limitations. What's the limitation of the Ktoret? When there's sexual immorality, the Ktoret cannot help. For the machloket, the strife of Korach, which seemingly strife is something severe and bad, that it can activate plague, chas v'shalom, yet the Ktoret is enough to stop that type of plague due to conflict. But when it comes to plague that's a result of pagam marbit, of sexual immorality, which is now involving these destructive forces made by the wasted seed, or seed of immorality, of nida, of goyim and everything, relationship with goyim. So we see that the Ktoret cannot help. He explains Ktoret is from the language of kesher. Katar in Aramaic, kuf tet resh, which is the root word of Ktoret, is kesher. Because how the Ktoret works is it's 11 fragrances corresponding to 11 sfirot. Which sfirot? The sfirot of the lowest world, called the world of Asiya, plus the malchut of the second world. These are dimensions, worlds, we can't go into that much, it's Kabbalah, but just take the word for it, that we're talking about the lowest of the 4 worlds called Asiya, where there's 10 sfirot, that's the 10 of the Ktoret, plus 1, which is malchut of the world above it. These 11 do what's called an extraction, and go into the evil, and any holy sparks that are stuck there, the Ktoret, as just like rings that are connected, like a chain, can pull up and extract a holy. It goes down, connects to the holiness that's there, kills the evil. It's like a chain. It smashes all the evil due to the connection, and extracts the holy sparks trapped because of the evil there, and brings it back out. It's like a chain. You pull it up, okay? But when it comes to the Pegama Brit, there's no chain. There's nothing. Brit, the sexual immorality is so severe, it causes a total separation from the holiness, and the holy sparks trapped in the domain of evil. There's no connection. With the Ktoret, there's still some connection to those holy sparks, to holiness, okay? And the Ktoret is enough to go in like a chain and pull it out. But with Pegama Brit, it's not enough. A chain won't be able to extract the force, the sparks of holiness that are trapped there due to immorality, and a higher degree of power is needed. This, we see there's room for the Tikkun HaKlali. Rabbi Nachman says the Tikkun HaKlali made of 10 psalms. They correspond to the 10 types of melody. 10 types of melody being the initial force of creation. The initial force of creation was initiated 10 utterances mentioned in Parshat Bereshit. And the Lord said, let there be light. And the Lord said there's 9 in total. One is the secret one that's called Mamar Satum. So those 10 were the instigators of the creation. They also correspond parallel to the 10 Sfirot. There's 10 Sfirot that Hashem used in the also initiation of the creation, okay? So the 10 types of song melody is coming from the highest world, Atzilut, and possibly even what's above that, okay? And from such a high level of like the revamp or the reconnecting to the beginning point of creation, from there, the holiness is able to go deep, deep, deep into the real far reaches, the farthest sections of the domain of evil, where this klipa, Lamed Yud, Tav, she is extracted and kept. She's kept by her all the evil, the holy sparks trapped by her. So this higher dosage of holiness is able, like a bulldozer, to go deep, deep into the woods and the forest of the klipa, smash her, Lamed Yud Tav, extract the holy sparks from her, and bring him back out. That's how powerful the 10 types of melody are. And Rabbi Nachman revealed that these 10 types of melody are inscribed in these 10 specific chapters of Psalms. So that just by reciting them, even though you're not singing them, you're just reciting the word combinations, the letter combinations, cause this type of melody. There's 10 types of melody. This is not an invention of Rabbi Nachman. It's from the Zohar, from the Midrash, from the Gemara and Psachim, and Rashi, in the opening Rashi on the book of Psalms, brings down the list of the 10 types of songs. These 10 types of melodies are reflected in these 10 chapters, representing the 10 types of song, which are strong enough to go into the evil deep inside, smash the klipa, and bring the sparks back to the realm of holiness. So based on that, you have a question. So why should I even say Ktoret? Let me just say Tikkun HaKlali, Tikkun HaKlali, Tikkun HaKlali, and put the Ktoret on the side. So the answer is, you need both of them. You need the Tikkun HaKlali and the Ktoret for 2 scenarios of the day. You know, if you're not very sick and you take a super duper powerful antibiotic, whatever, so it kills too much of the good also. In other words, it may do the job of healing or subduing any type of bacteria or virus, but because it's so strong, it makes like a big hole in the wall, which wasn't necessary, and it causes more damage. So for a light extraction, you do need the Ktoret. The Ktoret does the daily necessity extraction of holiness that is part of our daily tikkun in this world. In our daily tikkun of daily needs of elevating prayer, the Ktoret suffices for that. Things which are not due to Pegama Brit, a defilement of covenant, the Ktoret does that. However, for sexual blemishes, which can include anything connected to sexuality, where there's a higher level of damage, the wasting of seed, for example, so for that, you also need the bulldozer. For the sparks that are trapped deep inside, and if they stay there, they become even more and more damaging because of the severity of where they're trapped and the holiness and the height of the kedusha they contain. So for them, the Tikkun HaKlali is needed. And for the daily extraction of regular sparks from the daily day task of our work in this world, the Ktoret is needed and necessary. So we see you need both of them. Now another point is how often to say the Tikkun HaKlali. Rabbi Nachman prescribed it for a day that there's a nocturnal emission. Nocturnal emission is the definition of something which is unintentional. A person was sleeping and his thoughts ran wild to immorality, of sexual arousal, got him heated up with an erection, whatever, and he had wasted seed while sleeping. There, he didn't do it purposely. It happened by itself, even though he is responsible for that also, because the thoughts he allowed to entertain, even, like Rav Chaim Kanievsky writes in one place, even thoughts that he had a month ago, a few months ago, several months ago, they're stored in the subconscious, and this klipa, Lamed Yud, she uses them to arouse the man, to allow him to have, God forbid, an emission, and she takes the holy sparks of the souls of those sperm that were let out in vain. Okay? That's unintentional. And Rabbi Nachman in Likutei Moharan, he titles the idea of the Tikkun HaKlali as a Tikkun lemikre laila, a Tikkun for unintentional wasting of the seed. So that's for unintentional. All right? So the question is, what about intentional? What can help for intentional? So it seems like this. It seems that just recitation of the Tikkun HaKlali alone for masturbation, for intentional wasting of the seed, is not enough on its own. For that, it seems a person needs another qualification, which is reciting the Tikkun HaKlali by Rabbi Nachman's grave. Why do we say that? Because Rabbi Nachman revealed Tikkun HaKlali to be said anywhere in the world. And he said, the day you say it, the day you have an emission, you say the 10 chapters on the same day, you have nothing to worry about afterwards. He says, you have nothing to worry afterwards. You can be confident and rest assured and relaxed that it did the job. And by the way, that's another thing. What's the idea of saying them the same day? It's because once nightfall takes place, and nightfall is the time that the evil has dominion. If Lamed Yud Tav, she took these hostages, these holy sparks of wasted seed, unintentional, and so long as it's not nightfall, they don't want to be there. They want to come out. So they're waiting for someone to come and save them. If the Tikkun HaKlali is activated to smash that wall, they'll come out. But once nightfall takes place, they become maziki alma, and like Rabbi Nachman says in another lesson 141, they're enjoying it. It's so much power to be a destructive force. You can do anything you want. You're unlimited. So it gives room for them to do evil. They want to do bad because it's a sign of power. It's an ability to have power. So then they don't want to come out. That's why he says you have to say it on the same day. Because after that, even though it's unintentional, they become as damaging as an intentional wasting of the seed if you don't say it on the same day. So, look, Rabbi Nachman indicated, he revealed, say the Tikkun HaKlali in the same day. And then he made another statement later on in life, before he passed on. He said, he swore, and he took an oath in front of two witnesses, Rav Naftali, his disciple, and Rav Aharon, the Rav of Breslev, another disciple. He said in front of them, whoever comes to my grave and recites these 10 chapters of the Tikkun HaKlali and gives a coin to tzedakah, okay, and truly regrets what he did and doesn't want to return to folly, I swear, I promise, I will do everything in my power to pull that person out of Gehenna, no matter how low and severe his sins. So there's a question. If now, already reciting it anywhere in the world can fix, that it can do the initial stage of Tikkun HaBrit, and as is known, Brit is like equivalent to the whole Torah, because Brit, Bet, Reish, Yud, Tav, which is the sexual covenant between us and God, is the numerical value of 612, plus 1 for the word itself, 613. Brit is equivalent to the entire Torah. You can have someone who's learning Gemara Daf Yomi, but he's wasting his seed. Everything he gained, he lost now by wasting his seed. Okay? He's got to take care of that. That has to be priority. That has to be priority. I'm learning, great, fine. But it all goes to the Tuma if you don't take care of the Tikkun HaBrit. Person, he thinks, I can learn Daf Yomi and have sexual problems and it's okay. It'll be taken care of. It won't be taken care of. And in fact, the Torah you're learning Like Rav Nosson says in a prayer, that you allow the chitzonim, the evil forces, to take the secrets of the Torah and cause more damage through that. So the brit has to be taken care of because it's equivalent to the whole Torah. So it's you by saying it on the same day of unintentional, it fixes big time. He said you don't have to worry about the damage. But then the thing is, there's room now for what's worse. What's worse than that? Like we said earlier, the intentional wasting of seed, or if the day passed after a person had unintentional and he didn't say Tikkun HaKlali on that same day. Like he found out 20 years later about the Tikkun HaKlali and how much it's damaging that he doesn't fix it, and every second makes a difference, and he has to say Tikkun HaKlali. What to do? On this, it seems, when Rabbi Nachman said another stage to come to his grave and recite the Tikkun HaKlali, it seems that is for intentional sins. Now, there's room to say that's not necessary. You can say it anywhere. You can see on Rav Nosson's prayer after, he wrote a prayer to say after the Tikkun HaKlali, which is one of the most powerful, fascinating, amazing, moving prayers that Rav Nosson wrote. And there he says, whether I sinned, b'shogeg, b'mezid, b'ones, or b'ratzon, whether I did all four levels, even intentional, and it seems Tikkun HaKlali can help along with tshuva, like Rabbi Nachman said. No one understands the simple meaning of the Zohar except for me, and I say tshuva can help even for masturbation and intentional wasting of the seed. Fine, okay? But there seems room that Tikkun HaKlali, by Rabbi Nachman's grave, giving the charity, and having that regret of doing what a person did and taking upon himself not to return to folly, that is for the intentional wasting of seed. So the bottom line is, Tikkun HaKlali, with it you gain. You can only gain. And in Breslev, there's a tradition to say it every day. Even a day where a person didn't have any mission whatsoever, because like they say, Rav Levi Yitzchak Mender would say, if it can fix damage from the past, then it can also protect for the future. That it shouldn't happen, B'ezrat Hashem. So this is why in Breslev circles, they're very, very makpid. They make sure the day does not go by without saying Tikkun HaKlali, no matter what. There's certain devotions that in Breslev, Rabbi Nachman emphasized everybody should do these things. And the Breslevers took upon themselves that this includes Tikkun HaKlali, because you have to be stupid not to say it. It's such a gold mine. It's such a help. Again, it's for extraction of deep extraction of sparks that are trapped deep in the wall. And we all have our ups and downs in the day where there are mishaps in sexuality. Like the Gemara says in Sota, one of the three things that every Jew stumbles upon every day is some blemish in his sexuality. If he looked at a woman in a certain way, if he had a certain thought, entertained a certain thought. But every day the Gemara says a person has a stumbling in this area. And again, it's etched in your subconscious and may come out at a later time. Fine. So to prevent that, the Tikkun HaKlali is so powerful that they say it's worth saying every day. And it became almost like an obligation to say it every day. It's a breast of minhag you want to say it every day. Fine. We spoke about a lot of things. We should be zocher to value the Tikkun HaKlali. Rabbi Nachman hinted that for revealing this secret of the Tikkun HaKlali and other great things that he did, he paid the price by losing his children, losing his first wife. He lost 4 children, Rabbi Nachman. He had 8 kids. Of them, only 4 survived him. And his first wife, Sasha, he indicated, and his physical suffering and his leaving early, all that was like an exchange to allow such powerful energy weapons that we have revealed to us by these tzaddikim, to allow them to be revealed into the world. The tzaddik have to pay the price. It's like the concept of giving mayim achronim. After you eat, the halacha, and according to the Kabbalah, you have to wash your hands with a little bit of water. Why? It's like giving the evil a doggy bone. To keep the evil side shut, you have to give them also something. So to the tzaddikim pay a price, they suffer and they sacrifice from themselves, and when they see something that will benefit mankind altogether, especially Rabbi Nachman says this tikkun is a complete remedy. He himself said it's a tikkun HaKlali, even though it's just he said it specifically for the brit, but like we said, brit is the whole Torah, 613. We should be zoche, whether you're into it or not into it, to force yourself to say the Tikkun HaKlali every day. Like Rabbi Nachman said, it may seem simple and easy to say 10 psalms, but it will be pretty difficult because it's so easy and you're out of it and you can't concentrate. So a person finds all types of excuses not to say it. But fortunate is a person who's mitgaber and realizes this is a primary devotion and that they should not finish without the Tikkun HaKlali. We should be zoche in the merit of the Tikkun HaKlali. Rav Nosson writes in Rabbi Nachman's wisdom that in the merit of this Tikkun, this rectification, we should see the ingathering of the exiles and the coming of Mashiach. Amen ve amen. And thank you for joining.